Tonight we're going to be making gnocchi soup. If you haven't had a chance to check out my gnocchi, how to learn how to make it from scratch, you go ahead and check out that gnocchi video, and then come back here and we'll start with the gnocchi soup. And it'll probably be your first ever soup made with gnocchi. So this one is going to be a chicken gnocchi soup, and I hope you enjoy my recipe. We're going to start here making a roux. Now don't worry, this is a roux. I know you probably, if you've ever heard of anything like it, I don't really know where it all comes from. I don't really need to know all that. What I need to know is how to do it. So I'm taking my sticks of butter. I'm taking a half stick there. And I have another half stick, but I'm not going to use that much, so I'm just going to use 4 tablespoons, 6 tablespoons altogether, so that's 4. And I'm just going to cut this half stick in half. I don't want it to be like a thick gravy. I just want it to not be too runny. What does it say? Too runny. So I'm going to stick my butter left over there. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on to medium. And we're going to let this melt. Let this butter melt. I'm just going to run it against the pan. Okay. Once that butter is melted, you can go ahead and take your flour and start sprinkling it in there. You want to do it real, real lightly. You don't want any clumps. So we want to get it to be almost like I don't know if you ever made like pancake batter, but it's going to be thick. So just one moment. Let me get my flour here. I'll use 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm going to use. I need to get my. And I know I don't have everything all at one time, and it's okay because, like I said, you be cooking and you forget to get stuff out. That's just the way it is. You don't have to lay everything out before you cook, but the videos, it makes it easier for me to have everything out, so it doesn't take too long. And plus the clanking of the dishes and all that kind of gets in the microphone. And I am videoing these all by myself, so I don't have any help with the videos. It's just me. And I give them props for doing it on the YouTube, man. They come up with some really nice videos, but they also have help. So I'm not having it. I don't have any help, but it's okay. If my kids get use of this video, that's what the purpose of them are. So my grandkids, my nieces, my nephews, and I haven't had any teaching in cooking, so I think when I was young, the only thing I could cook was mac and cheese, hot dogs, and cereal, but that's not really cooking. That's just things that I made growing up, and peanut butter sandwiches. So peanut butter jelly was the way to go. Something that all the kids could make really, really easy. So I had to do a lot of videos, watching a lot of videos, watching a lot of different techniques. So I'm just going to share with you what I know. I'm going to take my flour. This over here. Oops. Do that. Take my flour. Take my little colander, or strainer, I should say. Get me a tablespoon here. Like I said, we're going to do it a little bit at a time. So, get this roux going. I'm just going to tap a little bit, mix it in. pan is all beveled out. It doesn't like to sit very well on the stove. So I kind of have to make it behave. Mix it in there. And you don't want your butter to get too hot, so I'm going to turn it down to low now that it's all melted. I don't want it getting too hot. The flour is just not going to go right. And I think maybe that's how you can get in trouble, is your butter's too hot. And you just want it to be barely melted. Second one here. And it's starting to get a little, how do I put that? A little thicker. So we only got, this is the second tablespoon. So we only got another tablespoon to go. And then our roux will be ready. One more tablespoon. Take your time with this. Make sure there's no chunks. You don't want any chunks. You want it to be nice and smooth. It's almost like frosting. Frosting. I'm using that confectious sugar or powdered sugar, they say, but it's not sugar. But it sure looks like it when I put it in this pan. Okay. Don't worry about those crumbles. Not a big deal. All right, that's 3 tablespoons mixed with 6 tablespoons of butter. If you can see that, it's getting a bit, that's a thick little roux there, what we got. Now to that, I'm going to be adding my onion. This out the way. My onion, my celery. Let's see, we've got carrots, even a couple carrots and spinach. Those things we're going to be adding to this. Get my onion out. Now cut it in half. You can see I've down here by the, I should say, leave the roots on. And we're just going to peel outer layer. All I'm going to do. Peel that outer layer just out of here. Little trash bag. Put that on there. Put it over here. Out of my way. There's my knife. Alright, my knife. Cut off that in there. Leave the roux on. I usually use a onion cutter, but since I'm only using half an onion, I don't need to do that. So I'm going to do, let me move this over so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a slice down the middle, just like that. And that root's holding it in. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And you want them kind of small, so maybe a 1/4 inch apart here. And then I'm just gonna very small slice them up. I don't want too big for my soup now. I like onion, don't get me wrong. Biting into one is alright. As long Oh, this is sweet onion. I'm good. Okay, and so you have this little tail. You can cut off now. You can put this in there with your vegetables to keep for your vegetable broth. Like I said, any extra stuff you keep all that. Keep it all for that broth. And we can go to my vegetable broth and we can make it together. And I'm telling you, you won't be buying that stuff at the store unless you necessarily have to. You know, I understand it can be a convenience, but man, the flavor is so different. I don't know what the stuff is in the store, but it ain't vegetable broth. I don't know what else to tell you. It is not vegetable broth. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add this to my pan. Celery. And there's a little trick on the celery, I will tell you. You know how you bite into the celery and there's going to be long strings in there or whatever, and you don't really care for those? But you don't have to eat those. I'm going to show you how to get rid of them. So these long strings, they sit in these little grooves, right? They just sit there. And you can actually just peel those grooves off. Now, if you don't have nails, see those little strings? See that? Oh, let me show you. These little strings is what you'd be eating that's hard to eat. And those kids, they don't like that. Because they got like a texture intolerance here. So I just kind of go through my celery and just pick it out. And like I said, you can always save it for the broth. So you're still doing good. You're still getting it. Just do like a quick peel of that stinking top layer and get those strings out of there. Get them out. It's not a biggie. If it doesn't bother you, then hey, it doesn't bother you, and don't worry about it. Just go ahead and get those done. Put them in your broth, or put it in your stock. Oh, I'll put them in the pot right now. Here we go. Try to get them out. See those strings, they just coming right out. Just coming right out. Don't worry about it. Okay, now that we've got those done, I'm just going to give these a quick dice. So I'm going to cut them in half. I'm going to cut them in half again. I don't want them too big. This is not like a, I don't know, a thick soup. This is kind of a thin soup, so nice and light. I'm just going to dice it up. Pretty small, not too big. You want them to be there. You want them to be noticed. You don't want to be, that's all you notice. Wash those fingers. Get close to the end. Take your time. Don't rush the end. You don't want to be one of those people that go chop, 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 chop. It's okay. Slow down. It's all right. Just slow it down. get paid for this. We just like to eat. So, and believe me, you don't want to go to the hospital and have to eat hospital food after you done put all this together and go have a nice meal. You cut your finger. So, just take those onions in there. Mix that up in there. I'm going to go grab my garlic as well. I'm just going to let that soak up into all that veggie right there. Right? I'll put this in my vegetable freezer bag. And what did I say I needed? I needed, go back to my recipe here that I have. Carrots. That's when I need my carrots. Grab my carrots. I need 2 carrots. Wash them off, of course. You need to wash all your vegetables because you never know what these people got in this stuff nowadays. You just don't trust what's in that bag. Always wash it. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get these peeled. And then I'm going to just peel these right into my bowl, right into my pan. And whatever I don't use, going in. It's going to go right into my vegetable broth. So once again, awesome. Vegetable broth is so good. I make a lot of curry with it. Oh. So please check that video out. And I'm not even really going to cut off the ends. It's okay because that's going to go in my vegetable broth. And whatever I don't use is going to go in there too. So I'm going to go ahead and take this cutter over here. I'm just going to go right into the pan. Now you don't have to do the long strokes. You don't want to get too long with it. Just a little bit at a time. Until you get down to the core that's hard to cut. And then you have yourself a little snack. Keep them for snacks. Just like that. Off that end. Put that in there with it. Keep that for a snack. Come back to this. Now you put as much carrot as you want to in there. Whatever you feel like is your amount. As you can see, I'm going to be making, it's going to be like 4 or 5 cups of liquid in there. And I think I've got some half and half to put in there too. So it's going to fill up probably about right there. So you want a good measure of it, okay? Keep going. And it may seem like a lot right now. Here, let me stir it up, because when you stir it up, it doesn't really look like a lot. See? It doesn't really look like too much. That's not enough. So we're going to do, for me, that's not enough. I'm just going to do a little more. Cut that up for later. That part later. So you'll notice when you get down to the middle of the carrots, it's a lot harder. these will cook faster because they're done like this. If you didn't do it like this and you put them in there in like chunks, it's going to take longer to cook. But because I did it like this, it won't take very long to cook. You know, onions don't take that long to cook. Celery don't take that long to cook. So I want them all to kind of cook on evenly. I'll leave that there. I got spinach. I'm going to do a whole cup of spinach. So I'm going to take it out of the bag. We're going to put that much in there. I'm going to rinse this off really good. And that's going in my soup. So I'm going to rinse that off. And it's going to cook down when it gets in there. Rinse off my spinach. Good rinsing. Bring that over here. Windows forward. Spinach out of here. See anything that I don't want? Just giving it a quick overlook. Let's see if I need these little green pieces. Sometimes there are pieces in it that don't even look like spinach. Like, where did you get that from? And it might be a good bag of spinach too. They come in these little bitty leaves that don't even look like spinach. But I like to take those out of there. I don't want nothing I don't know what it is. So I'm looking and I don't see any stuff that's wilted. Anything, especially when you buy them cheap. Like that one was, because it was getting ready to expire, they had it for like 92 cents. I was like, okay, I gotta snatch that up because spinach is good for you. And no reason I can't afford 92 cents with the spinach here. So I'm not gonna put that in my vegetable broth, but I will put these carrots in there though. I'm just going to give it a quick roll. If you can, just roll it up in your hand. Roll it up as good as you can. Get it. And I'm just going to give it a quick chop. Just like that. The rest of it, and I'm just going to roll it up into my hand again. Again, these are going to shrink down. And you'll see in your soup how small these really get. So don't do them too small. Don't chop them like minis. Don't really need to do that. Because these are going to, it's going to be kind of like a stringy soup. Because you got the carrots are kind of stringy. And good enough. And we're just going to add this to the pot. Yeah. Strainer out. Clean that out. I'll put it all in my little strainer. Alright, there you go. Strainer's good. Just going to add that to it. Remember, this has been on low. It's been cooking all this time. It's been on low. Now we just added that. I'm going to add my garlic too. What's it going to add with garlic? Let's see. 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. 2 teaspoons. was my half. That's okay. That's all right. Minced garlic, 2 teaspoons. And this is a half, so I need 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. Set that aside. Mix that up in here. Looking good. Turn the heat up to medium right now, and get rid of this. Put that in with my vegetable bag. Now I'm going to add all my other ingredients, which calls for, let's see, I did my celery, my onion, my minced garlic, my carrots. I'll put, I'm going to do my ground thyme, my garlic and herb seasoning, so those are half a teaspoon. Okay. Half a teaspoon, and that one's wet, so I don't want to use a wet one. I'll use a dry one. Teaspoon. So I'll put a whole teaspoon of my garlic blend. This one is a sweet basil, citrus, and garlic rub. That's what I'm going to use. 1 teaspoon of that in there. Oh shoot, it said half a teaspoon. It did say half a teaspoon. Oh well. I use half a teaspoon. Okay, you just go with the flow. And then, let's see, half a teaspoon of thyme we just did. Quarter of half and half, because we did the spinach already. So basically all I'm doing now is adding my olive oil, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Olive oil. A tablespoon out. There you go. Add a little flavor to that. And all we got left now is the chicken and a half and half. 1 quart of half and half and a quart of chicken broth in our chicken. So let's get this stirred up. Those spices incorporated real quick. Looking really good. Those spices in there. As you can see, that spinach is cooking down. It's just cooking down. It's going to continue to cook down and cook down and cook down. And I'm going to go ahead and add my chicken broth, which is a quart. And because my chicken broth is concentrated, I have to add another quart, or a half a quart, excuse me, of water to it. Because this is concentrated. And if you want to know how to make my chicken broth, I'm going to have to get another video with that made. Because in it has the garlic, the onion, all that you need. The chicken, it's like bone broth, kind of all together. It's really, really well, really good. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with water. jug of water over here. Fill it up halfway. Just 2 cups of water. Put that in there. See how it's starting to fill up? That soup is starting to fill up real good. And we still got the gnocchi to add too. So don't forget the gnocchi. You worked hard on that gnocchi. You're gonna want to put it in here. So this is on a medium. What is it? Medium high? Okay. Put that in there. Bring that up to temperature here. Man, that's starting to look really, really good. And then we have 1 quart of half and half. And the chicken, which is 2 cups of chicken. Which I'm going to use a pint of my chicken. Now this, I canned this chicken up. Well, now it's going to be last year because it's just the beginning of the new year. But in 2024, I'm going to make another recipe with my chicken. Because that's how I make my chicken broth. I use the chicken, I put it in there, make a real broth, and then I can up the meat. So this is 2 pints, a pint, which is 2 cups of chicken. And on my recipe, I think I put like three chicken breasts or equivalent. But if you have like dark meat, use the dark meat. Don't use the breast. If you got an opportunity to, use that dark meat, it's going to taste so much better. So all of this, pretty much, this is a mix of dark meat and white meat. These are thighs. Is pretty much what these are. It's all thighs. So I'm going to add that to it. Open it up. Like that. Fork. And you know what's good when you can eat it right out of the can. Oh, it smells so good. It's really, really good. And I'm just going to add that too. Add all this meat in there. I like the meat, so I'm going to add all the meat I can. I'm going to add all my chicken in. You don't have to add as much meat as you want. I mean, it's up to you. But I'm going to add my chicken in there. You know, you can buy that chicken, what is it, the chicken that you get at the store. It looks like tuna. It comes in those tuna cans. And it has somewhat of a flavor. But you can tell the chicken, I don't know, the chicken nowadays just has no flavor to it. It just doesn't. And if you don't make your own stock chicken, man, I feel bad when I have to go buy chicken at the store because it is not even the same. It doesn't even resemble chicken. And we've gotten so accustomed, I think the world has just gotten so accustomed to buying chicken from the store that they forgot what it really tastes like. There's just so much flavor in it. And we're just going to bring this up to a boil. So I'm going to turn it up to high. I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And let that go before I add my half and half, not heavy whipping cream, my half and half. The reason why you don't get no heavy whipping cream because you don't want to turn it into butter. The more you heat it up, it starts to separate, so you don't want to do that. And I'm going to put that half and half in there last, so it doesn't have a tendency of separating, and we don't want it to do that. When this starts to come to a boil, I'll be right back. Looks like it's about to come to a boil here, so I'm going to let it come to a boil. It's cooking really, really well before I add my gnocchi. I'm going to work on my gnocchi a little bit here. Looks like I've got I hope I have enough gnocchi to fill up what I want. And I'm just going to eyeball my gnocchi because there's no, you know, you're going to buy a package, but you don't have to use the whole package. You can save it, you can freeze it, whatever. But these are going to enlarge and get bigger, so they're going to puff up like a little cloud. So the little ones, you think they're not going to be very big, but they're going to be a good size chunk. So did I miss anything? I might have missed one. Just use my fork, slide it over. There's my gnocchi bits. My gnocchi bits. That's funny. But as you can see, I didn't even use all of my gnocchi. So what I'll do is I'll just either, you can make it all at one time, which takes a minute. But I like to just freeze them in the loaves that they are and use them as I need them. Just take a few out. I got my gnocchi there, you know, especially if you're not feeding a lot of people, you don't need to make a lot. And it takes even longer because you're trying to do it all at one time. You don't got to do it all at one time. So you can just put them in the bags. Let's say, I think I used maybe 3 or so in there. I'm just going to split this up. I'm going to put 2 of those. Well, I guess this is going to make 2 big ones. So let's just take these. A little bit of flour on both sides. Just like that. And then you can put them in a bag and put them in the freezer. And that way when you're ready to make some more gnocchi, you can just pull out as much as you need at a time. So I'm just going to use the rest of that flour to do that. Looks like my pan over there is boiling, so I'm going to have to start putting my gnocchi in. Okay, that's ready to freeze. Start dropping this gnocchi in here. So of course I'm going to take my little scraper. Take some. Don't just dump them in there, kind of just put it here. Let me turn this off, actually. I'm going to turn it off, take it off the heat. So I'm going to burn myself. I'm just going to drop them in there. Now they're going to cook, even though it's not boiling. They're going to cook, believe that. Give it a little stir so they don't get too stuck in there. Add some more until I'm satisfied with what I've got. And you see what I made, how much I made. So if I didn't measure how much I made, I'm just doing this all by sight and what I like. I just don't want too much gnocchi in there and not enough of everything else, or too everything else and not enough gnocchi. That's sad. All that work for nothing. But noodles only going to take like a couple minutes to cook anyway. Oops, these didn't separate. Separate. You don't want them to stick together. Let's give it a little stir. Mix it in there. There we go. Add some more. Remember, we still got to put a quart of half and half in here, so don't be afraid to add that gnocchi in here. Touch it. Don't want to touch the the way that looks. Now it looks like soup to me. Doesn't look too much. If it's not enough gnocchi, I will put a little bit more. I've got a little bit left here. So I can add the rest, or I can just leave it like it is. I'll put it back on the heat. Okay. I'm going to put it back on that heat. Now this one right here is 2 quarts. My daughter bought it for me. I only needed a quart. She brought me 2 quarts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this quart up that I have with the chicken broth in it. See how much more I've got to put in there? 1 quart. Add that. That's going to be so good. I'm just going to stir it up. Stir it up in there. Let it get hot. And once it's hot, it's ready to serve. This is it. You're done. And I'm going to check and see if I need to put more gnocchi in there. But it hasn't cooked. You know, it hasn't got fluffy yet. So I'm going to let it bring it to a boil real quick. And I might not even use all of this. Stick this back in the fridge. You can still see it's hot in that. Even though that milk was, listen, it's cold. You see the steam still coming up. I mean, it won't take too long for it to be warm again and you can eat it. So once it's come to temp, it only takes like a couple minutes for that gnocchi. So you're right on. I'm going to go grab a bowl. Actually, I'll put my gnocchi in a bag. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. This gnocchi in a little baggie. Let it lay flat. Now you can put this on a cookie sheet, whatever. Let it get cold, and then you can mess with them. But I'm just going to go ahead and put my gnocchi in here too as well, since I'm going to throw it on a cookie sheet. And you kind of don't want them touching. As you can see, they get kind of sticky when they touch. So kind of separate them in the bag. Don't waste them. Don't throw them away just because you're not using them right at this moment. You'll be using them. Air out a little bit. I'm just going to lay it on my cookie sheet just like that. And stick that in the freezer. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Cookie sheet out. Once they're all nice and frozen, you can pick it up the bag, you can do whatever you want to with it, it'll fit in the freezer a lot better. I'll set this aside, see what's going on with this soup. Ooh, my gnocchi's getting bigger. Yeah. And it's starting to float to the top. I don't know if you can see it. I got one right. Oops. Well, that didn't help me out now, did it? Oh, I can't even see it. Well, you'll see them starting to float to the top when it starts getting hot. So done cooking. See that meat in there for sure. Here's my gnocchi. Oh, I'm gonna have to pull it out so you guys can see it. Let's get that gnocchi. That's a lot of chunk of meat in there. Come on, gnocchi, where you at? Not quite floating to the top, or what? Here's the gnocchi right here. Ah. There's one. I mean, it's not done yet. That's one of them. But it'll be done here soon. Let's bring it back up to temp. Tell the sauce is hot. And I'm just going to taste it just because. Soup spoon. Taste that broth. Now, if you don't have any homemade chicken broth that I make. I mean, you can use the store's chicken broth, but it's not going to taste the same. So, you can leave it like that. You can add a little bit more salt to it. Do whatever you want to. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper to mine. I think it needs a little bit more pepper. Barely taste it. Now I'm starting to see my gnocchi a little bit better. You can see my big chunks is coming out in there. Lots of meat in there. Lots of gnocchi in there. That's what you want. Let's taste it now. It's better with the pepper. I'm going to add just a little bit more. A little bit more pepper. I think I'm going to add a touch of salt. Probably like a teaspoon, a little bit more. Just a sprinkle of salt. That's it. Just a touch. Now it's all up to you how much salt and pepper you always want. Some people like to watch their sodium. Some people like that. But even with the Himalayan salt, this has got like so many minerals in it. I think it's like 80 some minerals. But in Himalayan salt, the iodized salt doesn't have hardly anything in it. So I'm not even sure why I buy it all the time. Well, I know why I bought it, just because I didn't know, it wasn't good for me. So I decided to do something about it. And so I buy the Himalayan pink salt, or if you can get Celtic salt, get the good Celtic salt, and use that if you've got it. Right now I'm just using what you guys would normally have. You might be able to do the Himalayan salt. It might be too pricey. I don't know. You've got to figure that out. But if you can do better for you, then do better for you. You work hard for it. You work hard for your money. You do what you can do for your body. As you can see, the stuff is floating. My gnocchi's floating to the top, and I don't want it to be boiling. Like I said, you don't want to get that milk to separate. You just want it to be in a soup form. Let me taste to make sure I got enough. That's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in a bowl. Bowls. Get my ladle. Ladle it up. So I want to get a scoop of just good stuff, like the meat and the gnocchi. Just put that, a real good scoop of that at the bottom of your bowl. Kind of like that. You want to get a good scoop and just start adding the top. And there's your soup. I hope you guys try this. I hope you give it a go. It's very good for you with the chicken broth, the homemade chicken broth, the homemade gnocchi, and just those soft little clouds of gnocchi in there. Oh, it's so good. See how big they got? They got a lot bigger. But yes, give it a try. Hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Thank you guys for watching.